Does this series ever get better?
It's going to be terrible.
The film follows, what a surprise, Wonder Woman, aka Diana Prince, played by Gal Gadot, who lives on an island entirely populated by hot Amazonian women. Sounds like my kind of place. However, an American soldier called Steve Trevor, played by Chris Pine, lands on the island shores, prompting Diana to leave her loved ones behind and join Steve in the war effort, as she believes the conflict is the result of Ares, the god of war, possessing the people of Earth, and she wants to free them from his spell.
Can I ask you some questions?
Despite being arguably DC's most popular character outside of Batman and Superman, a Wonder Woman movie wasn't actually considered until the late 90s. After Supergirl, I'm not surprised.
It's been a while.
In 1996, Ivan Reitman was attached to write and direct an adaptation of the classic comic book character, but things fell apart not long after. 3 years later, the production was revived by producer Joel Silver, who hired John Cohen to direct and Todd Alcott to write the screenplay, and they planned to cast Sandra Bullock as the lead. But a deal couldn't be reached and production was once again put on hold. In 2005, Joss Whedon was finally hired to both write and direct, wanting to cast either Kate Beckinsale or Angelina Jolie as the lead. Back when we thought Joss Whedon directing a comic book movie would be a good idea, and casting Angelina Jolie in a comic book movie would be a hit. But he couldn't finalise a draft of the script and he was given the boot, and the project continued to linger in development hell throughout the 2000s. However, following the success of Man of Steel, interest in a Wonder Woman movie began to pick up again, and Warner Brothers chairman Kevin Shuchihara announced that the studio planned to finally get the Queen of DC onto the big screen. But Catwoman wasn't available, so they settled for this one instead.
We have run out of time.
Several directors were then considered, including Paul Feig and Michelle McLaren, but they were turned down due to creative differences. However, in 2015, writer Alan Heinberg had finally managed to produce a finished script that the studio approved of. And not long after, Patty Jenkins was confirmed as director and made her own contributions to the script. This version of the screenplay was conceived as a prequel to Wonder Woman's first appearance in Batman v Superman, placing the protagonist in World War I rather than the second one as per her comic origins. Because we don't want to repeat anything already in another movie, that would just be lazy and uncreative.
You'll see.
And Jenkins took great inspiration from Richard Donner's Superman films, wanting to convey a more hopeful and optimistic portrayal of the DC universe over the darker and more cynical version found in Dawn of Justice.
You speak of a time that may never come.
For the lead role, Olga Kurylenko and Elodie Yung were considered for the part, before Gal Gadot won them over. Really? She had actually been offered a role in Man of Steel as one of Zod's henchmen, but had to turn it down due to a sudden pregnancy. Christ, don't tell Whedon.
Are you insane?
But this then opened the opportunity for her to be cast in the sequel instead. Furthermore, Nicole Kidman was offered the part of Diana's mother, but turned the part down due to scheduling conflicts, though she would appear in a later DC film. Lucky gal.
Really?
Furthermore, Linda Carter, who played Wonder Woman in the 70s TV series, was actually planned to have a cameo, but scheduling issues prevented this from happening, though she would later appear in the sequel. Lucky gal.
It's magical.
Filming ran between November 2015 to March the following year, and despite some studio interference, which we'll go over later, things went fairly smoothly, and Wonder Woman was released on June the 2nd, 2017. The movie was a massive hit, grossing $822 million worldwide, making it at the time the highest grossing film directed by a woman. But unlike previous DCEU movies, this one actually received rave reviews from critics and audiences alike, and was even picked by the American Film Institute as one of the top 10 films of the entire year. To be fair, after the previous 3 films, I'm pretty sure any improvement would have been well received.
Thank you, sir.
Unlike the other films, at least there's an attempt here to tell a concise story. Unlike Dawn of Justice and Suicide Squad, it's not a jumbled mess. The world that they've built looks great, and I'm especially thankful that it's not just green screen central. Except for here. At least I feel like her whip actually fits her character, till she uses it to stop a bunch of muggers. Okay, it just looks silly. Why do I have such a big issue with whips? The mugging scene itself is actually pretty cool, and it's a decent homage to the first Dawn of Superman film. The effects are pretty damn good, I'll give them that. It looks very nice. The cinematography at points is really good, except this dramatic slow-mo of the bullet, which is instantly ruined by this floating corpse. And they do genuinely have some really funny lines.
I'm both frightened and aroused.
Would you say you're a typical example of your sex?
I am above average.
Apparently Patty Jenkins only included this scene to get back at a lot of movies which had female frontal nudity in them. Except we don't see the frontal nudity. So that makes no sense and this doesn't work. But you sure showed them!
I don't know, maybe.
But Godot and Chris Pine do have some pretty good chemistry together. He's also hilarious as she quizzes some bad guys about Ares and he just looks beyond annoyed that she actually believes in it. The musical score is also tremendous, and it does have some really well written dialogue.
You would knowingly sacrifice all those lives as if they mean less than yours?
Diana, let's talk
as
about
if
this
they
outside.
mean nothing? Where I come from,
Diana.
generals don't hide in their offices like cowards.
That's enough.
They fight alongside their soldiers. They die with them on
That's-
the battlefield.
that's enough.
All of this should have stopped.
Diana.
The fighting should have
We don't have time
stopped.
to
Why
talk
are
about
they
this.
doing
I don't
this?
know. I don't know.
Ares
I
is
know
dead.
that
They can stop fighting now. Why are they still fighting?
That's because maybe it's them. Maybe.
There's a sweet moment as they're having to keep moving despite Diana wanting desperately to stop and help the wounded. And the movie genuinely does have some really cool moments. Although, are you telling me that nobody is able to shoot her goddamn skin? I mean, I don't think it would kill her, but they don't even try. Just shoot her arms, you fucking morons, her neck, her legs, her face, anywhere with flesh. But I have to ask, this is one of the best films of 2017? I think when it comes to DC, we're just so used to bullshit that the most mediocre bollocks imaginable is well received. Alright, young Diana is pretty damn adorable, but wait, is that Robin right? Let me have her kill the bitch!
What have I done?
Okay. But like, this is Wonder Woman's first outing on the big screen, so you know they're gonna pull out all the stops and be incredibly creative. Like a young chosen one who really wants to go out into the world to learn and fight, but is disallowed by her superior.
The God Killer?
The weapon that is strong enough to kill a god.
What a silly idea. Like that'll ever happen again in another movie. No one's dumb enough to repeat that.
Zeus, king among them.
Played by Russell Crowe for some reason. The entire beginning of the film is practically every origin story to date. It's Batman Begins, it's Doctor Strange, it's Thor.
I'm one of the good guys, and those are the bad guys.
Oh shit, not this again! The main character's mentor dies. But just ignore all that. Now, tell me if you can see where this is going. The female protagonist meets up with a male and they are polar opposites from completely different worlds, but then they have to learn and grow over time. Oh look, they get together! Stevie Wonder blindfolded saw this shit coming! Hell, they make a big deal about this one secret weapon that can destroy Ares.
Zeus left the child he had with the Queen of the Amazons as a weapon to use against me.
To make a big deal about the hero finally leaving their world for the first time. A random army general casually murders his own men. Ha ha, someone from another world is in the human world and doesn't understand our ways or technology.
Thank God, you're not dead.
The franchise is. Okay, it is a little funny seeing her try to remain inconspicuous by holding a fucking sword and shield. They try to protect her identity and become engulfed with paranoia. One of the heroes sacrifices themselves for the greater good.
Shut it!
She has to fight the villain who is also her evil relative. The hero gets trapped and gets a memory or vision which gives her enough motivation and strength to fight through. Just because it's an improvement to the previous films doesn't mean it's not an uncreative, unoriginal pile of poo. And I know they're basing it off the comics, but the story itself is just very Captain America-like. I get it, with this many comic books, you're bound to repeat stuff, and as the old adage goes, there's only so many stories you can tell, but my issue is more that this film doesn't really do anything new or unique with any of these tropes. So it just comes across as an uncreative mess slapping together a billion cliches out of the book. Go on, do it! Do the obligatory walk through the fire. Do it! Son of a bitch!
Women and children slaughtered. Their homes and their villages looted and burned.
Thank God there won't be another one much worse than this. Both the war and the movie.
Be careful in the world of men, Diana.
Men everywhere need our help to stop being these barbaric creatures.
Thanks to this young woman, the room was finally quiet enough for me to get at least a few words in.
Usually if a woman is involved, it's the other way around. Am I right, fellas? The film is just boring. Outside of Wonder Woman and Chris Pine, I don't really care about any of the side characters. Even Professor Lupin, what's he doing here? I mean, this chap just looks like a supervillain. Look at his face! What else was he going to grow up to become? A volunteer in a soup kitchen? So yeah, well done. It took 4 movies to competently make a feature film, and I can see the effort, but it's so boring with uninteresting characters. Oh, did you get that? Look, it's the photo that they showed in Dawn of Justice. Oh, it's such clever foreshadowing. We're just like Marvel. Watch our movies. And here's one for you. Gal Gadot is terrible in this. She has one facial expression for the entire goddamn movie. Yeah, just lower your eyebrows at all times. No wonder they cast her as Henry Cavill's love interest. They're perfect for each other.
What the hell are you talking about? Henry Cavill and Gal Gadot aren't love interests.
Yeah, but in the comics, Superman and Wonder Woman get together.
But you're not talking about the comic books, you're talking
Look,
about the
it was
movies.
close enough for the joke to
no,
work,
No, you
okay?
have to be
Look, they
accurate.
get
Why
together,
do you
neither of
get
them
things
can act,
wrong
they're
on
both
purpose
really,
just
let
for the
it
sake
work,
of a
just
cheap
let the
joke?
joke
It doesn't
slide,
make any
alright?
sense to me.
It's
Why are you
fine, it was
opening
fine,
yourself
they're
up for
both really
criticism?
black. But as good as the effects are, the cinematography takes a step backwards and just enters this really ugly grey tint. It's just miserable to look at. Even during the big final battle, I'm bored shitless.
It's about what you believe. And I believe in love.
Who put you in there? The only thing that makes up for it is the hilarious response from the villain. It's so over the top, it's brilliant.
Then I will destroy you!
Especially considering he's responding to such a 6-year-old girl's line.
I like fluffy unicorns.
Then I will destroy you!
I like cute bunnies.
Then I will destroy you!
I love warm hugs.
Then I will destroy you!
The film's third act was actually massively changed during production. The original ending was much smaller, where Ares would have simply told Diana that humanity's actions were all their own doing and not the result of his interference, resulting in Diana losing her faith in humanity and completely abandoning them. However, the studio ordered that the ending be changed, feeling that it lacked action and was too depressing for audiences to handle. The whole point of the movie is that you get there to the big monster and he's just standing there looking at you saying, I didn't do anything. And then the studio kept saying, we'll let you do that and then we'll see. And then at the last minute they were like, you know what? We want Ares to show up. It pisses me off now because sometimes I'll read the reviews and the only thing we unanimously got some shit about was that end pyrotechnics.
I understand, sir.
This movie is poo-poo! Sure, it's not as bad as Suicide Squad, but that doesn't mean it's good. The slightest improvement doesn't mean it's good. It has some good stuff in there, and fair enough, it's at least a film, but it's boring and beyond uncreative with a shit lead performance. I'm starting to think that this goddamn franchise was doomed from day one. I actually just hit myself in the tooth. Oh, fuck that hurt.